What's going on, everyone? Welcome to I Got Next, my first video on YouTube. Now, this isn't the first time I've tried YouTube, but this is my first time getting back at it. I know how to edit videos now. We're in quarantine, we don't really got that much to do right now, so I thought I'd give it a try again and see how it goes. But without wasting any more of your time, let's get started. Now, as you may or may not know, I'm a fan of the New York Knicks. Hasn't been really easy to be a New York Knicks fan as of late. With games like this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this fucker, it's been very hard for a New York Knicks fan such as myself to accept the product that the New York Knicks have given us the past 7 straight seasons while not making one playoff appearance. To make matters worse, we don't really have much of a future if you really think about it. Now, don't get me wrong, we do have RJ Barrett that we picked with the 3rd pick overall. I do think he has a future. I do think he could be a future all-star, and I see some potential in him. Besides RJ Barrett, this team has showed us every reason why they will not be good in the future. You have a player like Kristaps Porzingis, you trade him, you sign a whole bunch of free agent rejects, then tell us that you're going to build young and through the draft, but instead of that, you sign a 6'9", 35-year-old backup power forward, and you put him as your starting center over a guy like Mitchell Robinson that you say is going to be the future center of the team, a guy you consider untouchable, was not willing to trade him for D'Angelo Russell. What sense does that make? And even if you want to make the argument that, oh, it's got to get a new coach, new management, we could build this young team, our young players are just simply not good enough. Kevin Knox, the guy that we took 9 overall in the 2018 draft, is arguably the worst player in the entire NBA if you consider the usage rate. I really believe Kevin has the worst defense I've ever seen from an NBA basketball player in the history of me watching the NBA, and that goes all the way back over 10 years. Mitchell Robinson could be a starting center, maybe all the way up to a Tyson Chandler in his prime, but that doesn't really say much. You don't really need a center to win in the NBA today. Guys like Clint Capella and Andre Drummond got traded for virtually nothing. And a guy like RJ Barrett, who I think is talented and can be an all-star like I said earlier, I don't see him as a franchise player. The same way I would bet my money on a John Morant or a Zion Williamson to become a franchise player. The Knicks' 2 best young players are RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. Where did those 2 rank in the NBA in young duos compared to guys like Kristaps Porzingis and Luka, Devin Booker and Aiden, Towns and D'Lo, Tatum and Brown, Zion and Ingram, John Morant and Jackson, Trae Young and John Collins? You get the picture. What the Knicks really need right now is a player who could bring buzz to the Garden, relate with Knicks fans, and give us hope that they could become a New York Knicks great one day and lead us over the hump. We have heard rumors that the New York Knicks are going to try to target Donovan Mitchell this offseason. And am I for that? Absolutely. Donovan Mitchell is a 23-year-old borderline superstar who puts up 25 points a game, and he will bring buzz to the Garden. You know right away when he comes here, every single kid in New York City is going to rock his jersey. Another name that's been out there is Joel Embiid. That guy I'm all for as well. That guy is one of the most interesting interviews in all of sports. Having a superstar like that in the New York City market with that personality would just be amazing. I think you guys understand me now. We need to get a superstar talent in the Garden who's going to hype up Knicks fans, make us buy that guy's jersey, encourage us, give us hope, and bring us back into the playoffs, and hopefully eventually attract other big names to want to play in New York City. The way to attract players is to win. You look at the Brooklyn Nets, they decided to win games that encouraged Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to come there because that's a winning culture, rather than come to the Knicks, who have been losing year after year after year and show no signs of turning around. I guess I just really miss the days where you would buy the best player's jersey, you would go into the Garden, or you would hope they would win games. It hasn't been that way lately. Like, we have been so pathetic that some of our fans go out there and buy jerseys like this. I'm confident that our president of basketball operations, Leon Rose, is going to look for a big name he doesn't really seem like the guy that wants to build to the draft. I may be wrong about that, but if you know anything about him, he has the big clients, he has the big names, and he wants to probably go for the big names to come to the Garden. At this point in time, you cannot give us another 5 years of losing basketball. It's been 7 straight years. There's been no upside to this. So far, this roster is a complete mess with guys like Julius Randle out there with Wayne Ellington, Taj Gibson, while some of our young players are riding the bench. That doesn't make any sense to me. That basically just wraps up for this video. I don't see our roster going anywhere. Number one, our management has been a complete mess. And number two, our young players just don't have superstar potential. Even if you take a time machine, you take all these young players and you put them into the future, I still don't think you'll be anything special because I don't see potential in most of these players. You go all out this offseason, you look for a superstar. If nothing's there, fine. Keep RJ Barrett, draft a player, go from there. But if you have the opportunity to go for a superstar player like a Donovan Mitchell, like a Joel Embiid, like someone of that caliber who could hype up our Garden, bring buzz back in there, make it alive, and go from there and possibly bring more free agents here, you gotta do it. I just don't see any downside to that because I don't see potential in our roster or our management developing a young roster. I just don't see it personally. That wraps up for this video. I appreciate you watching all the way through. If you enjoy, please hit the subscribe button, and I'm out.